Hello, I'm Food Daniel. I'm here to give you my predictions for what I think is going to happen in Week 2 of the Women's Football Alliance regular season. Okay, I'm staring at the Week 2 schedule on the WFA website. Let's go down the list and I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. Okay, Central Maryland Seahawks versus the Boston Renegades. Now, Boston is the defending champs, and they do have a penchant for massacring everybody they play. Central Maryland Seahawks. At the start of the year, I wasn't sure they were even going to exist, but looks like they still do because they did play last week. Still, I'm not going to believe that anybody will give any competition to Boston until it actually happens. I think this will be a gruesome win for Boston. Columbus Comets at the Cleveland Fusion. This ought to be good. These are two very good Ohio teams. I know in recent years Cleveland had a bit of the upper hand. I expect that'll probably continue to be true, but I could be wrong about this, and I hope I'm wrong because I love the Comets, as you can see. So I'm picking Cleveland, but I hope I'm wrong. Go Comets. Okay, Indy Crash to Derby City Dynamite. Indy's coming off of a close win against the Detroit Dark Angels. Derby City is coming off of a pretty solid loss against the Atlanta Phoenix. Derby's a good, scrappy team, but I think Indy's a cut above. I expect Indy will win this game. Yes, I predict Indy by between 2 and 3 touchdowns. Okay, Chicago Force at the Detroit Dark Angels. I love the Dark Angels. I wrote their theme song 3 years ago. Don't know if they still use it or not. But like Boston, Chicago massacres everybody, so gruesome win for Chicago. Jacksonville Dixie Blues at Atlanta Phoenix. Okay, Jacksonville's been in a bit of a funk for the past couple of years, but they seem to be coming out of it. But Atlanta is pretty much the class of the Southeast. Well, them and Miami. So I think Atlanta will win this one fairly solidly by right around 3 touchdowns, I'd say. Miami Fury at the Tampa Bay Inferno. This ought to be fun. If I lived in Florida, this is the game I'd go to. You know, Miami is probably the best team in Florida, but Tampa Bay is only a shade below. And, with 1 or 2 lucky breaks, I can see Tampa Bay winning this one. But I would predict Miami, but I'll say by a touchdown or less. I wish I could go to that one. Orlando Anarchy at the Daytona Wave Runners. I'm not even sure who the Daytona Wave Runners are. I mean, is this a reforming of the Palm Beach Punishers? I don't know the geography of Florida that well. Daytona, Palm Beach, I don't know. I suppose I would pick Orlando simply because I'm at least a little bit more familiar with them. But I could easily be wrong. So a very uncertain prediction by me for Orlando. West Michigan Mayhem at the Minnesota Machine. Okay, the West Michigan Mayhem, they got beat last week to the Chicago Force, but that's no shame because who doesn't? The Minnesota Machine lost a surprisingly close game to the St. Louis Slam, on the road no less, indicating Minnesota's better than anybody thought. This could be good. I'd say Minnesota by 10 points or less. By 10 points or less, Minnesota. Okay, let's go to Texas now. Arlington Impact at the Houston Power. Okay, now I'm looking at the Week 1 scores. Oh, by the way, props to the WFA for putting the scores from the previous week right there on the front page, so it's the first thing you see. That's the way it's done. Very well done. Okay, Arlington Impact coming off of a rather embarrassing loss to the Dallas Elite. No shame there, because that is Dallas. They do that. While the Houston Power are coming off of a embarrassing victory over the Austin Outlaws. So all things being equal, there's no reason to expect Houston not to win this game. And I think they will by a very comfortable margin. 3 touchdowns, I'd say. Okay, staying in Dallas, the South Texas Lady Crushers from Corpus Christi at the Dallas Elite. Okay, the Lady Crushers are a brand new team who had to forfeit their first game last week against the Acadiana Zydeco, playing the Dallas Elite, a resurrection of the Dallas Diamonds, a perennial powerhouse. This will be gruesome win for Dallas. Gruesome. Okay, here's another game I wish I could go to. The Tulsa Threat at the Acadiana Zydeco. These are 2 very evenly matched teams. This will be fun. This will be a lot of fun. See, the Tulsa Threat, they won their game against the Arkansas Wildcats 7-0, while Acadiana won a forfeit, so we really don't know anything about how they'll be this year. I can see Acadiana winning this. I'd say Acadiana, but it'll be close, touchdown or less. Okay, Kansas City Titans at the Arkansas Wildcats. Now this game will not be close. Arkansas failed to score against the Tulsa Threat, while Kansas City Titans are the Kansas City Titans. Kansas City will win this one. It'll be gruesome. Yes, gruesome win. Okay, to the northwest now. Tacoma Trauma at the Portland Shockwave. This is Tacoma's first game of the year, and this is their third season, and I think in those first 2 seasons they've won either one game or no games at all. I can't remember. I think they won one game. But still, I'm not going to believe that they're anywhere near the same league as Portland until they prove it, and I don't think they will. Not this week, anyway. I say Portland will win this one by 3 or 4 touchdowns. Okay, the Portland Fighting Phillies at the Everett Rain. The Everett Rain continue to do real well. Especially playing in the shadow of Seattle. I never thought they'd be this good. They lost last week to the Shockwave 47-20. But still, they're better than most folks know. As for the Portland Fighting Phillies, they got shut out by Seattle 20-0, but I'm very surprised their defense held Seattle to only 20 points. So this one could go either way. This one can go either way. But I'll say the Rain. I feel good about the Rain by between 1 and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. Okay, to the southwest, the San Diego Surge at the Sin City Sun Devils. I love both of these teams. I'm acquainted with half the roster of both of them. I've been to their home games. I dig the Sin City Sun Devils. I'm glad that when the Las Vegas Showgirls owner disbanded the team, they very quickly resurrected themselves as the Sin City Sun Devils. But the San Diego Surge, nobody's going to beat them all season long, up to and including the championship game. I'll make that prediction right now. San Diego is going to be the league champs. They're going to buzzsaw through everybody. I expect this will be a gruesome win for the San Diego Surge. Yes. Okay, the Arizona Assassins at the Pacific Warriors. Okay, the Arizona Assassins surprised the hell out of me last week by winning their game against the Ventura Wolfpack 26-6. I saw Arizona in a game last year. They were barely able to complete a season because they had so few players, and they still have rather few players. But they got a convincing win last week. As for the Pacific Warriors, they gave up 73 points to the San Diego Surge, but on the other hand, they did score 31 points against the Surge. Any team that can score 31 points against the San Diego Surge can probably score a lot more than that against anybody else. So I'll say Pacific Warriors will win this game pretty handily. I'll say by 3 or 4 touchdowns. Okay, also in the Southwest, here's another game I wish I could go to. The Ventura Wolfpack versus the West Coast Lightning. Okay, these are 2 scrappy teams with, pretty small rosters. At least I think so. I've had trouble finding a complete roster for the West Coast Lightning this year. But the Ventura Wolfpack, I predicted that they probably wouldn't take the field this year because they're the second team in a small town like Ventura. Well, they proved me wrong. They took the field last week. They lost 26-6, but still, they're playing. They're in the game. And we'll see what the West Coast Lightning have. Playing in the shadow of both the San Diego Surge and the Pacific Warriors, it's probably difficult for them to get it going, but at least they're playing too. So this game will be very close. I'll give the edge to the Lightning simply on experience. They've been around for a few years, while the Wolfpack are a new team. I'll say Lightning by 2 touchdowns or less. Let's see, there are 2 interleague games. There's an unidentified non-league opponent versus the Mile High Blaze in Denver. And then there's the Baltimore Burn of the WSFL versus the DC Divas. The DC Divas, they're only a cut below, the Boston and Chicago's. So, while Baltimore Burn is, probably the best team in the WSFL, or one of them anyway, I don't think they're going to be any problem for the Divas. I think Divas will win this one by 3 or 4 touchdowns. Now, as for the Mile High Blaze, I really can't say because I don't know who that non-league opponent is. I expect when I look at the IWFL website, I'll find out. So, that completes my predictions for Week 2 of the WFA season. Stay tuned for my predictions for the IWFL and WSFL. Thank you.